Distinguished guests and participants, welcome to the Winner 2024 conference, the fifth edition of Winner Week, and for the first time held in the Netherlands. It's a pleasure to see such a diverse and esteemed gathering of individuals here today. Winner, which stands for Week of Indonesia, Netherlands Education and Research, represents a commitment to foster collaboration, research and education in a wide range of topics that are mutual interest to Indonesia and the Netherlands. Our focus revolves around the Sustainable Development Goals, reflecting a shared dedication to addressing some of the world's most pressing challenges. I would like to introduce myself. I am Evi Eliana, a faculty member and director of Office of International Affairs of Universitas Negeri Malang, Indonesia, and member of Indonesian Young Academy of Sciences, or ALMI. And also, please give a warm welcome to my new co-host this year, who's joining us today, Mervyn Bakker.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Avi. And selamat pagi, goedemorgen for everybody here in The Hague and online in the Netherlands. And selamat siang, goedemiddag for everyone in Indonesia. I'm Mervyn Bakker. I work as Executive Director of the European Association for International Education, and I'm also a board member of the Indonesia-Netherlands Society. I'm very honored to be part of this fifth edition of Winner in The Hague. As we are celebrating the first lustrum of Winner, it might be good to recap very briefly what Winner is about. Winner offers a platform for committed individuals to come together to inspire others, exchange best practices, and explore collaboration opportunities between Indonesia and the Netherlands in education and research. By forging new partnerships and strengthening existing ones, we can create a more sustainable and prosperous future for all and strengthen the relations between Indonesia and the Netherlands.
We will now take a moment to listen to the national anthems of Indonesia and the Netherlands. Audience, please rise. be seated.
Okay, let's take some time now to get to know you, the audience here in this beautiful theater in The Hague, but also online everywhere in the Netherlands and Indonesia, to get to know you a little bit better. And we have prepared a few questions for that on Mentimeter, I think something well known to you. There's a QR code here on screen. I would like to ask everybody here, but also online, to scan the code and to give you responses to only 2 questions we have for you. The first will be, what do you expect to gain from Winner this year? And the second will be, what do you wish for Winner in the years to come? We are very curious to hear your expectations, and you can, of course, also use the live stream to chat with us. And I've got my phone here, so if any questions come up, and I will also look at these. So this is the first
look at that.
question.
Yeah. Look at that, Marvin. Networking, we've got collaboration. I think we have shared intention by coming here. Oh, very good. It keeps developing, Marvin. But I think the 2 most, most answered is that collaboration and networking. Okay, inspiration. Okay, thank you very much. Let's keep it up. And what do you wish for Winner in the future?
Exactly the same.
Let's see if it is exactly the same. What do you wish for Winner in the future? Okay. Oh, PhD. Innovation. Very good. Okay. We should post this one on Winner website.
We will.
Okay.
And indeed, we know that PhD collaboration is a very good way forward.
Yeah. For nurturing talents, which is exactly what we're going to talk today, right? Okay. So what's next we have, Marvin?
Well, after this icebreaker, let's dive into the theme of this year's Winner. On stage with us, I would like to invite Yvonne Klerks, Education and Science Attaché at the Embassy in Jakarta for the Ministry of Education, Culture and Science of the Netherlands. Yvonne, may we ask you to enlighten us a little bit more on the theme of Winner this year?
Yes, thank you very much. Dear Excellencies, honorable guests and participants, it's a true pleasure to be here today at the opening ceremony in the Netherlands as representative of the Dutch Ministry of Education, Culture and Science in Indonesia. After many months of preparation by the organizing committee, we can finally start with Winner 2024 with this opening ceremony. It's wonderful to see so many of you present here today, and also a very warm welcome to the audience online. The theme for Winner 2024 is nurturing mutually beneficial cooperation in higher education and research. Indonesia and the Netherlands have a strong partnership on education and research with many existing programs and projects. But how do we foster this partnership to keep it strong? And how does this partnership nurture talented students and researchers, leading to new inspiring programs? And how do these impact and benefit our society? That is the focus of Winner 2024. Bringing together a valuable community of people inspired by the collaboration between Indonesia and the Netherlands to discuss the importance of international partnership on education and research and the impact this has on society. In this opening ceremony, these topics will be discussed in 3 different sessions. The opening ceremony will start with a session that addresses nurturing talent, where 2 young researchers will share their perspective. After that, we will listen to the opening remarks, followed by the official opening of this Winner Week. Then the program will continue with a session that discusses strong partnerships between Indonesia and the Netherlands. And the program for today will be concluded by a panel discussion on the benefits and societal impact of the collaboration between Indonesia and the Netherlands for both countries. Thank you very much, and I wish you all a very inspiring open ceremony.
Thank you very much, Ivana, for guiding us through the theme. More detailed programming can be found on the Winner website. And if you have more questions or requiring information about the venue, the function, can also reach out to the committee. They are wearing the yellow badge.
Thank you, Avi. And now let's move to a very tangible outcome of the collaboration between Indonesia and the Netherlands. I would like to ask your attention for the signing ceremony of the INUCOST Memorandum of Understanding. May I please invite on stage Acting DG Mutakin, Professor Faiz Shuaib, Professor Annetje Otto, and Professor Wim van den Doel for the signing ceremony. We are extremely excited, actually, that the INUCOST MOU will be signed between the Indonesian Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology and the Dutch Alliance, Leiden University, Delft University of Technology, and Erasmus University, Rotterdam.
INUCOST is an Indonesian-Dutch university consortium and stands for Indonesian-Netherlands University Collaboration on Sustainable Futures. The consortium consists of the alliance between Leiden University, Delft University of Technology, and Erasmus University of Rotterdam, as mentioned by Mervyn, and also 5 Indonesian universities, including Universitas Airlangga, Gadjah Mada University, Institut Teknologi Bandung, Universitas Indonesia, and Universitas Mula Warman. This consortium is the first Dutch-Indonesian collaboration to be financially matched through LPDP by the Directorate General of Higher Education of Indonesia. Okay, please. Let's bear witness to this historic moment of Memorandum of Understanding signing between Indonesia and the Netherlands in the area of research and education. Let's give a warm applause to the very first manifest of the collaboration.
We can see we need more than one signature to confirm this collaboration.
Hopefully more consortia are going to be established and stronger collaborations are forged.
Yeah, let's see this as an open invitation for other parties to start talking about these things in the coming week.
Of course, we need to document this historic moment.
Okay. Congratulations to all signing partners in signing this MOU. We wish you a lot of success in making the collaboration actually happen. And please give everybody a big round of applause for this collaboration. Thank you.
Now we come to one of the keynote speech of today. Now that we have seen some successful results of international partnerships, let's dive into the winner program. We're starting with the session Nurturing Talent to set the scene before the official celebratory remarks from our honored guests. I'm very excited to welcome on stage our first speaker, my colleague, Herlambang Wiratraman. He is an associate professor and director of the Research Center for Law and Social Justice, or LSJ, at the Constitutional Law Department, Faculty of Law, Universitas Gadjah Mada. He is an active member of ALMI, the Indonesian Young Academy of Science, of which he used to be a Secretary General of ALMI in 2022 to 2023. Let's welcome Herlambang.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Goedemorgen, good morning, selamat pagi semuanya. distinguished guests and participants, Ibu Yvonne yang saya hormati. This morning really a good opportunity to share our what is that sort of like experience nurturing talents, especially involving young academies, since we have several good examples that we can share to you, and also striving for next collaborations meaningfully, and also working with the empowerment, trust, resilience in scientific freedom. So I add the subtitle by myself. Okay, next slides. I just want to share several activities, since my experience is really closely to the interdisciplinary studies of law and society, especially looking at the Leiden Van Vollenhoven Institute, Leiden Law Schools. I graduated precisely this year, actually 10 years ago, I graduated from Leiden. And then after that, from time to time, there have been so many cooperations actually with Indonesia and Netherlands, and then involving many researchers, lecturers from various parts of universities in Indonesia, such as promoting legal certainty and increasing judicial skills in selected areas. That was really doing legal research, socio-legal research of Indonesian jurists can be increased because it was really cooperation between the Supreme Court in Netherlands and also Supreme Court in Indonesia. I involved in as a researcher, and then from there we can contribute something to change the situations in under Supreme Court in Indonesia. And it was really great cooperations, and also encouraging young scientists in various parts of Indonesia, and also independent researchers to be part of that research. And also SIOR program, it was strengthening Indonesia's ombudsman in the regions, actually also part of the cooperations, and also providing many inputs for strengthening ombudsman, because the idea of ombudsman actually has been adopted from Netherlands. And then therefore, it will be great to have sort of like lesson learned from various parts of Indonesia, what can be exchanged by doing research deeply at ground, and also sharing good experiences to change the situations. Next slide. And I think this is really key in Indonesia after considering several programs in Indonesia, trying to see the development of law. Then we have really strategic involving Faculty of Laws in Indonesia, a collaboration between Royal Institute KIT from Amsterdam, Leiden, Gajah Mada University, Jentera School of Law, and also several universities in Eastern Indonesia. We call it Strengthening Legal Educations in Eastern Indonesia. That program actually focusing on 5 issues. This is related to legal skills, gender and law, legal ethics, law at local context, and also interactive learning. And then from there, actually, it's not merely about the benefit for such program is not merely about those from Eastern Indonesia, but also step by step, this kind of strategy actually has been replicated or developed in many other faculty of laws in Indonesia. So we call it SLAY approach. So that's also good cooperations, and also involving so many faculties of laws, and also lecturers, young scientists in Eastern Indonesia. Then the other important things in this program, actually, we also involve small universities, private universities in very remote area like Universitas Kristen Wirawacana in Sumba Island, and also several other universities. And then I cannot imagine they try to develop law curriculum under the law schools, but they have only 8 lecturers for building law schools. So that really difficult to get strategy in improving legal education. But from there we can learn step by step for improving strategies, and then what will be the contribution for the society, especially when they deal with so many agrarian conflict issues at ground. Next. Then that is answering the first questions. So what is nurturing talents in that sense? By learning from those experiences. The first one is trying to address education gaps, for instance, like from the big public universities and the private, and also very remote areas, and also looking at the region like Eastern Indonesia's, and then enabling sustainable systems. Because of having such cooperations, then the university can develop themselves, and then trying to build a system better than before, develop strategies in order to make sure that system it will be applicable at really meaningful process. And then meaningful collaborative research, not merely increasing knowledge, but also involvement to do research for policy or social change. Next slide. And then the second questions that we need to address, why we believe it is important to cherish these bilateral collaborations. Between Indonesia and Netherlands can benefit from shared knowledge, resources, and expertise, leading to mutual growth and development. What we have seen that actually we learn each other, sharing experiences, and then trying to solve by having such collaborations, we try to solve the problems and also create new opportunities. So not merely about the research, but also trying to think what will be different by having such collaborations, and also to change the situations. Building trust is also important, and understanding for more resilient partnership. And the last one is about addressing global impact. What we are facing now is really significant problem or situations that, for instance, like rule of law and social justice, technology, healthcare, and environmental sustainability. The pictures actually, when we had opportunity to meet with veterans, the Chief of Justice of the Netherlands Supreme Court, and trying to convince judges in Indonesia to use, for instance, like the jurisprudency, we call it like legal precedents, judicial precedents, in order to bring the legal certainty at place, especially dealing with the legal cases in Indonesia. Because, since Indonesia also has adopted civil law system, but then in applications, sometimes it is not the same practice like in Netherlands, but different interpretation. So that's why we try to connect with the Netherlands Supreme Court in order to promote this. And our role is actually to bring this message more academically by doing research, not only restatement, trying to see the doctrine, and also using the socio-legal approach in order to see the context of that law applications. Next. Then, what are the added value of these collaborations to society? There are several things that we would like to address strengthening quality of the justice system through enhancing legal education, law in local context, for instance, like what we have done in the context of SLAY, strengthening legal education for Eastern Indonesia, because living in Indonesia is really face the legal pluralism, so many diverse or local contexts that must be addressed. Efficient problem solving allows to pool resources and expertise, and hence making it easier to tackle global challenges like climate change, pandemics, and security threats. Then collaboration contribute to long-term sustainable developments to protect future generations, and also having such collaborations, we also promote how to bring the message of social legal approach, for instance, like more systematically. Therefore, in Indonesia, also we built ASLESI, sort of like association of lecturers who concern on social legal research. And then by having this scientist association, then we can bring this more meaningfully at the law schools and also in research. Next, and then how we flourish the talents. There are several points that we need to address, such as the importance of networks, already mentioned in the, what is that, Mentimeter. Networks, and also careful selections. Learning from Leiden Law School, actually, it's quite interesting. They had a preference for academic activists and genuine but still idealist academics, not people who try to just further their career. It means that it has sort of like intention to do something more than study. The importance of continued support for PhD after they return to Indonesia, such as myself, so many support from the Leiden Law School and also other partners actually, by collaborative projects, co-writings, and also one can make some difference if they can support the program or projects that we have done. Fostering partnership between Indonesia and Dutch academic institutions for human rights, mutual understanding and cooperation in legal educations and research. And the last one is promoting academic freedom. The last one is really important as a minimum requirement for cooperations. I already emphasized last year that it's really necessary to be built common understanding that this is standard or fundamental for us in order to bring the science will be meaningful for the society, and also because without academic freedom, actually nothing to do with science, because it will be different situations, afraid in saying or doing something. Next slide. And recommendation, the last one. What will be the recommendation for these nurturing talents? As we believe that all human life needs science, actionable knowledge to solve practical and pressing global scientific issues such as climate change and humanity crisis. The other is strengthening scientist collaboration by advancing gender equality in science, the inclusion of young scientists from all regions, promoting open science and free flow ideas. Facilitating ideas, facilitating the active scientific community to engage with policymakers, society, to produce actionable knowledge for a sustainable future. Empowering young scientists is also necessary, and increasing their representation in leadership positions. It's not about structural position, but it's more research collaborations or research team, that is leadership positions. In the context of massive falsehoods in the age of deception, it requires collaboration to promote public trust in science. And the last one, protecting academic freedom, including scientific freedom, responsibility, and integrity. This should be embedded under collaborations. So that's all the thing that I would like to share this morning. I hope this would be necessary to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Herlambang, for offering us these insights, but also the recommendations for future collaboration. It's now time to introduce Yuri Tijdink, Dr. Yuri Tijdink, to the stage to give his remarks. Yuri Tijdink is a clinical psychiatrist and principal investigator at the Ethics, Law and Humanities Department of Amsterdam University Medical Center. His main research projects focus on research integrity, research culture, mental health in academia, research quality, and the assessment of research and researchers. He's the writer of a book called The Happy Academic, How to Survive in Academia, collaborates in Indonesia with Universitas Padjadjaran in Bandung, and together with Fitri Arianti Abidin, he teaches the mental state examination course for master students, and also they've written a book, mainly in Bahasa, on the mental state examination for students.
Yeah.
Yuri.
Thank you so much for this super kind introduction. Selamat siang for the people in Indonesia. Maaf, saya tidak bisa belajar bahasa Indonesia. So I have to do it in English, sorry for that. But hopefully in a couple of years' time, I will be able to do a presentation in Bahasa Indonesia. Well, we have to wait for another year. First a couple of years to wait, and then hopefully I can do it. First of all, I would like to thank all of you to be here. I mean, talk about my collaboration with my colleagues and friends in Indonesia is really a special moment, because when we talk about nurturing talent and we talk about collaboration, I really think of how wonderful, how fruitful, and how much inspiration it is to collaborate with my colleagues from UNPAD, and that I can talk about this collaboration today and what we have achieved together is truly an honor. And I really I'm also very honored to collaborate with them and do so many different things together, because I think together, and I come back to that more often in this short speech, together is very important. If you really want to nurture talents, you really do this together. What I will do, I will just try to be a little bit tangible how this collaboration looks like, highlight a couple of aspects of this collaboration, and hopefully can encourage you also to collaborate more and collaborate in such way that we learn from each other, that we can share knowledge, that we can share experiences. And well, that's one of my take-home messages, that you can have a lot of fun together when doing research and when teaching together. So if we can go to the next slide. Yes, this is this. So I highlight this by four different things: to do research together, to teach together, to indeed write books together, partially in Bahasa Indonesia, and also to learn from each other. And this is me. Well, luckily, you can see here that I'm slightly taller than my colleagues in Bandung, but that's only physically. Mentally, I learn a lot from them. And you see here in 2019 we established our collaboration, and the collaboration is ongoing. Can we go to the next slide? So next slide also. So these are my two main colleagues that I collaborate with, that is Kang Aulia and Mbak Fitri. I will come back to the research that we do together in a minute. Next slide. So these are a couple of examples of the research that we do. But I think the publications, and I think publication is very important to share knowledge with each other. But we do actually so much more. Research is not only the end product is the publication, but it's also about exploring. It's about learning from each other different perspectives from both the Netherlands and also from Indonesia. I try to be a good mentor for Bafitri. And she is also mentoring me in terms of how can I become a better researcher, I can become a better academic, and how can I become a better, also a better person. And I think that is the mutual understanding that we have together, and that's why this collaboration is so fruitful. And I try to help with formulating the right research question and to help her in developing and creating her own research line that is about parenting. So these are examples of how this collaboration looks like. And if we can go to the next slide. Then the other element that I'm working on with Kang Aulia is we do a study on publication pressure in Indonesia. And you might have heard, and maybe we can go to the next slide, it's a very interesting and development that's currently going on in academia in Indonesia, because here in this Lancet editorial, the editor, Richard Horton, highlighted that that in 2016, Indonesia was a little bit more focused in terms of research, in terms of outreach of research towards the insight. And after 2016, when the new system, the research assessment system started, it became so much more flourishing. So there was already so much research going on in Indonesia in 2016, but it was mainly published in Bahasa Indonesia. But due to the new criteria that were governed by the Indonesian government, people started to publish in English as well. And this resulted in so much more international publication, because it was partially mandatory for a lot of research to publish in English. But it also, and I think that's the most important thing, it also sparked a lot of collaboration, of course, but also that the knowledge that was already out there was so much research going on in Indonesia that was actually shared with the rest of the world. Due to this language barrier that was first there and that was not there anymore. So this is a very wonderful example of how this has improved over time. Of course, there are some pitfalls that we have to take into account, and maybe we can go to the next slide. What we did is we tried to see whether this affects the researchers at UNPAD. And well, please don't have a look at the numbers, it's too small. But what you see here is that in 2018, the level of publication pressure was actually quite high. And onwards, longitudinally, after 5 years, the level of publication was slightly lower. And what can we learn from this? I think learning, if we can go to the next slide, learning is very important, because on the one hand, it sparked a lot of international collaboration. It sparked a lot of sharing knowledge. It sparked a lot of synergies. And that's what you also see in the rankings. Well, I know that the Indonesian government finds rankings of the universities very important. And you see a sharp incline in the ranking. For example, this is the World University Ranking. On the other hand, there are also pitfalls. And we have seen these pitfalls as well in the Netherlands when we had a very quantifiable research assessment system. And this is one of the examples, and what we highlight here is one scandal. You might have heard of this scandal, that there's one researcher at one of the universities that published over 150 papers per year, which is impossible if you look at from that perspective. So there are also pitfalls that we have to take into account if we really focus on quantification of research. And I think that collaborating together, looking at also the publication pressure perspective, gives a lot of insights in how we can improve this, and how in the Netherlands we are improving these assessment criteria. If we can go to the next slide. So what I want to highlight is indeed that it's so good to share knowledge and to share publications and to share and to start fruitful collaborations. But we also have to look at the pitfalls that these new assessment criteria may create new incentives, may create also a lot of pressure on researchers. And rankings, we have to be honest, is not only, it's covering not all the academic tests, important academic tests, like for example, leadership or supervision, that we also need to cherish and to reward and to incentivize. So that is about the research. Let's go to the teaching, which is so much, well, of course, it's a lot of fun, but it's also, I learned so much from teaching. We have developed several courses. If we can go to the next slide. We have the mental state examination, and this is a course for master students in psychology and also residents in psychiatry who were joining. We try to do this every year. And we teach about how to improve not only the assessment of your patients as a psychologist or psychiatrist, but also we do role playing in the classroom, how to do a good mental state examination. For example, we have a wonderful course developed at UNPAD, Faculty of Psychology, about research ethics and research integrity. How can we create better, how can we improve the quality of our research? And we also have a small course, which of course is about surviving academia. And I would like to highlight this briefly because I think it's wonderful to see how many commonalities there are between the Netherlands and Indonesia. We are all academics and we run into the same problems. The beauty, how I encounter and where I learned so much from is that Indonesia is more a collectivistic culture where there's togetherness, where togetherness is very important. And the culture is very deep and rich. While the Dutch culture, and I have to be honest, we are sometimes a little blunt, and sometimes we are too critical. And I think these differences learn me how to become a better researcher and to value teamwork so much more than I did before. And I hope that I can sometimes, and I know that Bafitri agrees with me, that sometimes a little bit, just a little bit, okay, just a little bit of bluntness sometimes, or being critical can be helpful in furthering collaboration and furthering some work. So that's about teaching. We can go to the next slide maybe. And to write, indeed, we're currently finalizing a book on the mental state examination in Bahasa, Indonesia. And I would like to thank again my dear deceased colleague, Kang Gemi, who is also in the writing team, but unfortunately passed away last year. So it is truly an honor that we can finish this book together with him. And then the final slide, if we can go to this one. So of course, have fun. I think that's very important in collaborations because that is inspirational and it is also connecting, and connection is essentially to actually really collaborate. I know the bikes are a little small in Indonesia. From my perspective, then, but working with such marvelous talents in the master program in UNPAD at the Faculty of Psychology is truly a big honor. Next slide. So and this is finalized. So from my perspective, I think so valuable to share knowledge mutually, to co-create together, to have impact on both societies with our work, to learn alternative perspectives, super important to really, if you really want to understand the world and want to understand the world of research, then you need to learn from other perspectives. Of course, to have fun and to grow as a researcher, person and supervisor. If we can go to the next slide. I also asked Mbafitri what is her perspective, and she has been to the Netherlands several times. She has been teaching here as well. She has grown a lot. She's now an associate professor, and here you see what all the things that she learned about how to communicate. And it's very similar if you look at the perspective from my side and her side. I think we both learn in a similar way how to learn from different perspectives. Well, also how to emphasize that how good the Indonesian food is. This is her perspective, but I completely agree, and I sometimes really feel ashamed for the Dutch food that I sometimes have to offer. How cold the Netherlands is, of course. She was here 2 times in winter. So wonderful things from an individual level and also from an institutional level. If we can go to the next slide, then, well, it's really, the strategies right now are really focusing so much more on collaboration, which is a beautiful thing, to improve the quality of research. Well, I hope I contribute a little bit from this, from my background and my expertise, to indeed share knowledge by reaching an international readership. And also, well, the ranking of Indonesian university have increased a lot in the past years, which also which is logical. If you look at the 6-fold increase, it's now, if you look at in 5 years' time, the 6-fold increase of academic publications each year. So it's over 50,000 academic publications each year from Indonesia, which is a wonderful achievement. If we can go to the left side. So why I would really encourage all researchers that are listening is to find collaboration. You can have bigger impact together. You can have synergies. Welcome, Minister. Yes, and to have, most important, to have fun and to get inspired and be inspirational. So I would like to end my speech with the next slide, because I think this is an African proverb that gives me a lot of inspiration. So if you want to go fast, you have to go alone. But if you want to go far, you definitely should go together. Thank you so much for your attention, and thank you, my dear colleagues, also Mbak Fitri and Kang Aulia, for helping me also with this presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yuri. Thank you, Herr Lambang, for sharing your insights. I think a great start of the 5th edition of Winner. You might have seen some people walking in. We're very honored and excited, actually, to have been joined by 2 excellencies in the meantime. First of all, the Dutch Minister of Education, Culture and Science, Minister Bruins.
And also His Excellency Ambassador Meyer Fast, Ambassador for the Republic of Indonesia to the Kingdom of Netherlands. Welcome. Let's give a warm welcome to them.
And with their entrance, we're also moving now into the more official part of the opening session. And we would like to ask Minister Eppo Bruins to come forward and to give his opening remarks. Minister Bruins is a former member of Parliament and held key positions like the Director of the Technology Foundation and Chair of the Advisory Council for Science, Technology and Innovation. Minister Bruins, may I invite you to step forward and give your opening remarks?
Thank you. Your Excellencies, honorable guests, dear participants, it is a sheer joy to welcome you to the 5th edition of Winner. This is the first time this conference is being held in the Netherlands. For all of you who are following the live stream, I say good morning or good afternoon, and a warm welcome to you from Theater Diligentia here in The Hague. This theater is a very fitting place to hold this year's edition of Winner, as it was once the home of Diligentia, a centuries-old society for scientifically informed citizens, which still exists until today, and sometimes also uses this stage. And nowadays, this podium is also home to creative minds, such as Dutch stand-up comedians, theater groups, and dancers. It is a place where science and culture meet. And today we meet on this stage to reflect on the strong ties Indonesia and the Netherlands have in research and education. And today and over the next 2 days, we will have the opportunity to further strengthen this bond. On this stage, several Indonesian and Dutch academics will share experiences on fruitful collaborations and how their work will contribute to a more sustainable world, benefiting us all. In this day and age, we sorely need all our practical and academic talent. Knowledge is vital to address and to solve the complex social challenges we face, such as climate change, global health issues, and the need to responsibly deal with, for example, artificial intelligence. To possibly solve these challenges, we need all different types of knowledge, from solid education to fundamental research, applied sciences, and practical knowledge from all scientific domains. Let that be my first message for you today. We need all types of knowledge. My second message is we need everyone for this, from academia to NGOs, businesses, public and civic organizations. So we do not only need all types of knowledge, we also need all people and organizations to be involved to tackle these complex issues. And the third and final requirement is international cooperation, because we need to look beyond our own borders, because these challenges we're talking about, like rising sea levels or extreme weather conditions, food insecurity, these problems know no boundaries. We need to cooperate and we need to collectively work towards the same goal. And there's this beautiful Indonesian phrase, gotong royong. There is no Dutch equivalent for this. Perhaps the East Dutch dialect term of noberschap comes close. Gotong royong. Only together we can ensure that future generations receive solid education, that we give students room to prosper and allow scientists to be able to freely conduct their research. Only together we can tackle global challenges and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, shaping a more sustainable and safer world for future generations. And this is exactly what Indonesia and the Netherlands are doing together. And this year marks the 5th edition of Winner. 5 years in which we have stressed the importance of collaboration and highlighted countless joint projects. And in 2022, my predecessor, Dr. Robert Dijkgraaf, visited Indonesia on a knowledge mission with multiple Dutch educational and research institutions. And during this mission, the Netherlands Knowledge House was initiated, aiming to bring Dutch knowledge organizations together who are interested in collaborating with Indonesia. And today, we are strengthening the bond even further, the bond between the Indonesian and the Dutch knowledge sector. A memorandum of understanding will be signed, enabling a consortium of Indonesian and Dutch universities to intensify their cooperation. And that is a promising and strong start, as researchers are already drafting their proposals and students are taking their first courses. Dear guests, knowledge multiplies when it is shared among others. And looking around this room, I firmly stand by that promise, because I can see Indonesian and Dutch students, scientists, and policymakers sitting side by side. It shows how close the bond between Indonesia and the Netherlands is. And I believe that during the next couple of days, that bond can deepen and grow. We can listen to each other, exchange ideas, and above all, inspire each other. Because that is what this edition of Winner is all about, to nurture mutually beneficial cooperation in education and research so that it can flourish even further. So let's give knowledge the chance to grow and multiply even more over the coming days. I wish you all an inspiring winner. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Bruins, for the very insightful opening speech. Now, I'd like to ask to listen to the opening remarks given by the Indonesian Minister for Education, Culture, Research and Technology, His Excellency Nadiem Makarim. He sends his apologies for not being able to be with us today in person in The Hague, but he wishes the best not only for the conference, but also for the flourishing and sustainable cooperation between Indonesia and the Netherlands.
Excellencies, Minister of Education, Culture and Science of the Netherlands, Mr. Eppo Bruin, Chairman of the Indonesian National Research and Innovation Agency, Mr. Laksana Trihandoko, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Indonesia to the Kingdom of Netherlands, Mr. Mayervas, distinguished guests, delegates of Winner 2024, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for inviting me to this year's Week of Indonesia-Netherlands Education and Research. I'm delighted that our collaboration continues to thrive and resulted in the 5th edition of this event. Started back in 2020 during the challenging time of COVID, Winner has been a vital example of cross-national and cross-discipline collaboration, one of the key pathways in improving research quality. Indonesia-Netherlands cooperation in the academic and research field has gone well and produced positive outcomes for the fields and researchers on both sides. We continuously see great interest among Indonesian students to pursue higher education in the Netherlands. As of October 2024, there were more than 2,400 Indonesian university students studying in the Netherlands. A remarkable number from that total were awardees of our Indonesian International Students Mobility Award Program. Since its first launch in 2021, we have sent more than 270 Indonesian students to 6 universities in the Netherlands. I believe that if we continue to strengthen this collaboration, there will be many more exciting knowledge exchanges in the future. Another worth noting is the key fact regarding Indonesia-Netherlands partnership is the growing number of collaborative programs between universities. There are currently more than 400 active university-to-university agreements that cover various fields, including double degrees, joint research, academic mobility, and other strategic sectors. We should all be very proud of this great accomplishment. And I'm also glad to inform you of another exciting news. Our countries have just signed the agreement between Leiden Delft Erasmus Universities Alliance and our ministry with Indonesian universities. This collaborative project aims to facilitate joint research in the fields of green and blue economy, digital technology, and also health and tourism. I very much appreciate this great initiative and wish great success for the project's future deployment. I would like to extend my sincere appreciation for the hosting of the 5th edition of Winner this year. With all that we've achieved so far, the long-standing collaboration between our two countries is one that we must strengthen, we must celebrate, and also expand. And I strongly hope that together we'll create a much more open, much more collaborative education system in which science and technology have their place to grow and contribute to the wider society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Makarim, for your very inspiring words. Next, we move to His Excellency Dr. Laksana Trihandoko, the Chairman of BRIN, the National Research and Innovation Agency of the Republic of Indonesia.
Is Mr. Eppo Bruin, the Minister of Education, Culture and Science of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. My dear colleague, Mr. Nadiem Makarim, the Minister of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia. Mr. Mayervas, the Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Indonesia to the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And also honorables, distinguished participants from Indonesia and also Netherlands, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon for Indonesia and good morning for The Hague. Best wishes to all of us, and may we all be blessed with good health. I'm very honored to be able to greet all of you who are present today, physically and virtually, in the event of the Week of Indonesia-Netherlands Education and Research, the so-called WINER 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been 3 years since BRIN was formed and has led a lot of research and innovation activities throughout Indonesia, engaging and collaborating with many partners, national and international, local and global, from governments, private, universities, international organizations, including with the United Nations. BRIN are carrying out the objectives of the government of Republic of Indonesia, particularly on the research and innovation ecosystem, holding 3 main roles, which are the policy recommendation maker, the funding agency, and also the executing agency as well. BRIN continues to encourage the increase and improvement of the quality and quantity of human resources for researchers, the infrastructures for research, and organize the management of research funding. BRIN are executing its roles by holding the principle of independence, fairness for all, and no money across the border. Among various countries and organizations, Netherlands is one of the Indonesia's prominent partners in terms of research and innovation. For many years, our countries have established and implemented closer relations, especially shared values, vision, and mission in elevating research and innovation, guided by the solid principles of mutual respect and mutual beneficial relationship for both nations and peoples. For the next 3 days, Indonesia and Netherlands will conduct the 5th session of WINER with the theme on nurturing mutually beneficial cooperation in higher education and research. WINER is a platform for all researchers, engineers, and policymakers to witness their achievements, to initiate and to deliver their ideas, as well as to find international talents who can become partners in the future to work together with, and many more. BRIN has conducted collaborations with various institutions of Netherlands. Among others, the Minister of Education, Culture and Science, Naturalis Biodiversity Center, Leiden University, Twente University, Wageningen University, and Research, Deltairs, and the University of Groningen. BRIN also continues to explore and to expand the collaboration in research and innovation fields with other institutions and universities of the Netherlands, which I believe can bring the highest benefit to the institutions, countries, as well as talents. To bring the maximum impact of the research and innovation activities to the development of Indonesia and global partners, BRIN creates many programs that can be utilized by not only human resources in BRIN, but also by all researchers and engineers from government, universities, and private sectors in Indonesia and also international partners. To implement the successful practical results in research and innovation between both countries, BRIN is welcome to collaborate in extensive areas of joint research, people-to-people exchanges, technology transfer cooperation, sharing research facilities, open platform of research infrastructure, matchmaking on research funding, enhancements of human resources through capacity building, and entrepreneurship cooperation. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this 5th WINER is a momentum to maximize all the potential of both parties. In my perspective, WINER must not be just a ceremonial meeting, but there must be concrete action resulting from the meeting. It would be very good if what is presented at WINER does not stop here, but can continue to become a research project or the forerunner to a more formal and concrete scientific collaboration platform. This is important to be able to elevate the quality of cooperation between two parties, and thus, therefore, I encourage partners from Netherlands to collaborate with BRIN in joint research funding and other programs that can drive innovations in the future. I believe this year WINER could be a great momentum in advancing our collaboration, in particular in the field of research, innovation, and education, and also strengthening bilateral relations between both countries. Finally, I hope you have a productive and fruitful meeting and discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Handoko. I'd like to invite Minister Bruins and then Dr. Tatang Mutakin, the Acting Director General of Vocational Education from the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, Professor Agus Haryono, Deputy for Facilitation and Research of BRIN, and Professor Margo Winan of NWO to come on stage. Please take the seat on stage.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. I'd like to invite Pak Tatang, Dr. Tatang Mutakin, to give short opening remarks. Pak Tatang, it's yours. Please have a seat. Yeah.
Speech.
His Excellency Eppo Bruin, Netherlands Minister for Education, Culture and Science. His Excellency Nadiem Anwar Makarim, Indonesia Minister for Education, Culture, Research and Technology. His Excellency Laksana Trihandoko, Chairman of BRIN. His Excellency Ambassador Extraordinary in the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Mr. Meyer Vaz. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Goedemorgen for you in The Hague, and good morning. And goedemiddag for you in Indonesia by online. First and foremost, I'd like to extend my deepest gratitude to all of distinguished guests and participants for the present today. And I also would like to convey my sincere appreciation to all the parties involved in this collaboration. Their dedicated efforts have significantly contributed to strengthening the human resource capacity of Indonesia and the Netherlands, particularly to joint initiative in research and education, especially to Mrs. Yvonne and also Professor Agus. Indonesia and Netherlands has shared long-standing relationship that has built on mutual benefit, understanding, and trust, and will the shared goal of advancing the welfare of both nation people. The relation is not only governmental relation, but also enriched by the people-to-the-people connection, cultural exchange, and active engagement, with further fostering the bilateral relation between our two countries. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, throughout our shared history, Indonesia and the Netherlands have consistently emphasized the importance of the human resource development. Both nations recognize the vital role of higher education in the equipping future of generations to engage effectively in the global community. The dynamic and ever-changing environment in higher education sector has led us to always improve and innovate in order to meet the expectation and demand from the society, mainly in relation with the industrial sector that has been working together closely with the industries, with the university, and also the innovation and joint collaboration. Young generation become the main foundation for the future of innovation, and their contribution are integral to strengthening our economic sector. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, through this cooperation, I hope the Indonesia young generation can learn and experience the Netherlands expertise through its university with long history of achievement, best practices, and competent human resources. From these chances, we can also further improve the interaction between young generation of the two countries through cultural exchange and also friendship that will be invaluable for the future leaders. This partnership aligns with the Merdeka Belajar Campus Merdeka policy, with prioritized key initiative to elevate the quality and competitiveness of Indonesia higher education sector. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, winner this year held in the Netherlands, with Nuffic Southeast Asia serving as the host in collaboration with Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology of Indonesia. This year, in our addition to ongoing research collaboration with the Dutch Research Council, or NWO, we are excited to announce a new partnership, the InnoCos Consortium. This consortium brings together 5 universities from Indonesia and 3 universities from Netherlands. Building our collaboration with the Dutch Research Council, which has been in place since 2018, this year we have opened a call proposal on the theme of blue economy. We invite universities from both the Netherlands and Indonesia to apply through the Marian Fund program. Through this research collaboration, we aim to establish a strong consortium that will enhance both countries' soft power and further solidify Indonesia's position as key research partner in the global academic arena. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I sincerely hope this event will bring us close and to clearer vision for the future of higher education in both countries and serve as a stepping stone for the development of the next generation of the leader. Thank you for kind attention and dank u wel. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Dr. Tatang. The next short opening remark will be provided by Prof. Margo Wijnen.
Yeah, yes. We are running out of time, I think. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, dear colleagues here in this audience, physically present and in Indonesia, let me just echo the sentiments of the previous speakers and welcome you all to this 5th edition of Winner. Winner started 5 years ago out of a wish to shine a spotlight on the many ways in which Indonesia and the Netherlands cooperate in research and education. Academia, universities of applied sciences, and research institutes from our two countries work together on innovative solutions to challenges that cross the borders of countries and research disciplines, and that we can only address by working together. Whether it be on cultural heritage, transitions to renewable energy systems, mitigating the effects of floods in a changing climate, or antimicrobial resistance, you will find researchers from Indonesia and the Netherlands working together on these topics and many others, working with scientists who have known each other for decades, but also working with young talented researchers who are the future of our cooperation, with governments at the local and at the national level, with companies, with NGOs, and with affected communities. Research brings nations together, and only together can we tackle global challenges. And last but not least, of course, it has been mentioned many times before, international cooperation connects people, it brings people together. For the researchers involved, it's tremendously personally enriching. And I think I am not the only researcher present here who made lifelong friends thanks to international research cooperation. It's extremely valuable. 5 years on, and Winner has grown from a small digital conference to an innovating physical event. It's wonderful to be here with so many people sharing this passion. I particularly want to extend a warm welcome to the Indonesian friends present here in The Hague, and a thank you to the universities and universities of applied sciences who have opened their doors to host sessions live this week. I hope these next few days we will all learn new things, make new connections, and strengthen ties with old friends and make many new friends. I thank you all for being here, for participating in this event. Terima kasih, and I wish you a fruitful and inspiring week of Indonesia, Netherlands education and research. Thank you.
Margo, last but not least, words of welcome will be provided by Professor Agus Haryono. Time is yours.
The Excellencies, Your Excellency Mr. Eppo Bruins, Minister of Education, Culture and Science of the Netherlands, Your Excellency Mr. Meijer Vas, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Professor Dr. Margot Wijnen, Chair Domain Engineering and Applied Sciences, Data Research Council, NWO, and also Dr. Tatang Mutakin, Director General of Vocational Education of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, and also colleagues, distinguished participants from Indonesia and the Netherlands who joining this conference both online and also in person here. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our great pleasure to be here in person in the event of the 5th edition of Week Indonesia Netherlands Education and Research Winner 2024 with the theme of nurturing mutually beneficial cooperation in higher education and research. Today, we'd like to thank that the organizing committee had organized Winner Conference in the Netherlands for the first time, because I remember when in 2021 I participated in the Winner as the speaker by online, and this is the first time Winner organizer in person in Netherlands. I hope in the near future we can organize another Winner conference in another city in Indonesia as well. Winner is very important for Indonesia and Netherlands in order to enhance and to promote the exchange and people-to-people cooperation, especially in science, technology, and innovations. In these 3 days, I believe it is a good opportunity for both scientists from both countries to strengthen and to look forward in advancing our collaboration in the field of education and research. I believe Winner is indeed an important occasion for R&D institutes like BRIN, universities, and other stakeholders from both countries. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as the commitment to strengthen science, technology, and innovation cooperation, BRIN and the Netherlands established some cooperations. The majority cooperation between BRIN with the Netherlands partner are from universities, and I hope many more stakeholders to come to collaborate with us. Currently, BRIN significant investment has been made in research infrastructure. Also, we established laboratory facilities for acquiring multi-omics data from biological samples from both terrestrial and also from marine species, utilizing tools such as sequencing tools, protein profiling with cryo-EM, and also other equipments. Additionally, BRIN processing research infrastructure for large-scale computing and storage, including high-performance computing platform available for collaboration between external parties partnering with BRIN researcher. We invite you all from Indonesia and also from Netherlands to have in-depth discussion during and after this conference to create connection and collaboration, especially between Netherlands and Indonesia. In addition, the management of research funding, now increasingly organized by Government of Indonesia by utilizing Endowment Fund for Research managed by LPDP, and can be utilized by all researchers from government, from universities, from private sectors who doing research and innovation from Indonesia and global partners. As part of this global community that now are connected, a collaborative international framework are essential. I do encourage for having collaboration in all sectors in research and innovation. BRIN welcome to collaborate in extensive area of joint research, people-to-people exchanges, and other activities from both mutual collaborations. Echoing what the chairman of BRIN mentioned before in the video, I hope that the cooperation on research and innovation between Indonesia and Netherlands will go stronger, beneficial of each other, and could contribute more to the national and global enhancement in research, innovation, and technology. To conclude, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all partners with participate in this conference, and also who participating in this fifth winner, as well as other parties. They have played important role in the making this event successfully. Finally, hope we all have productive conference and embrace the scientific connection. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Agus. Now I'd like to invite all the speakers to come forward to officially open Winner 2024 by pushing the red button together. Together. That's the challenge. Do it together. Can we do the countdown? Okay. 3, 2, 1. To remain on the stage, and Minister Bruins and also Pagus to return to their seats in the front. Thank you. Okay, Mervyn. Okay, before we get into the next session with these two esteemed speakers, do you want to share your takeaways?
Yeah, I think we heard a lot of interesting things. And what has become very, very clear to me, at least, is that Indonesia and the Netherlands are building on a very strong foundation. And that moving forward, as the minister said, we need all types of knowledge, we need all stakeholders, and we need international collaboration so we can address the societal challenges we face, whether that's in energy transition, spatial planning, food and water, or in digitalization. I also heard that people-to-people contact is crucial for the collaboration between Indonesia and the Netherlands. So whether it's between students and professors, PhD candidates and their supervisors, or between researchers. I think what we also heard is that the partnership is based on shared values and mutual respect. And the most important thing, and that's also what Winner will offer, is a platform not only to share success of the past, but also a network for new partners. Because to bring our partnership to the next level, we, and when I say we, it means government, it means universities, it means individuals. We need to keep investing together in a joint future.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Thank you very much for the very comprehensive recap. And our next session is titled Mutual Cooperation and International Partnerships. And we have two speakers who have a shared presentation, Dr. Tatang Mutakin and Professor Margot Wynan. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Bu Epi. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Distinguished participant, ladies and gentlemen. Today my name is Tatang. With also together Professor Margot Wynan from NWO, who will present our mutual collaboration program between Indonesia and Netherlands. As a background, collaboration between Indonesia and Netherlands, next to the next slide, has been ongoing for a long time. And for example, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of Indonesia has established various partnerships with the Netherlands, such as scholarship, student exchange, international mobility for lecturer, the world-class professor program, global engagement, and joint research collaboration. Maybe I'm also one of the product of the Netherlands, maybe 6 years ago. And then one of the joint research collaboration programs already started in 2018 with NWO. This was, of course, not the first time for NWO and Ministry of Education, Research and Technology had worked together in the research. We already knew each other from the program like agriculture beyond food. We in our DG, there are the Center for Agriculture Training, which also support by the Netherlands. And also we have a conference like Open Science Meeting, and we built on those experience to create cooperation Indonesia-Netherlands research program. And also in 2022, we renew our implementation arrangement to continue this program. It's really a joint program. So we decide on the topic of our call together. We also collaboratively decide on how the proposal will be assessed and carry out with the assessment procedure together. Projects are always conducted by the team from Indonesia and the Netherlands, with a project leader on the Dutch and the Indonesian side. They also always include partners from the practice, so businesses, non-government organizations, civil society, or local or national government who bring in their own knowledge and experience with the topic and who can bring the research result into practice. Each side of the consortium receive funding from their own national funder in accordance with the funder regulation. So the funding from NWO goes to the project leader based in the Netherlands, and the funding from the Ministry of Education, Research and Technology goes to the project leader based in Indonesia. That's maybe from my side. And
then I'll continue. Thank you so much. So how do we decide then on the topic for our joint programming? After all, as you can see in this year's winner program, Indonesia and the Netherlands work together in research on many different topics across almost all research disciplines. And Indonesia and the Netherlands, of course, also each have their own research priorities. Well, we, of course, don't do this in a vacuum. We agreed that our starting point are the Sustainable Development Goals, and the focus must be on research that has the potential to contribute to innovative solutions for societal challenges. We look at the priorities for both countries in our national research agendas and the way research expertise available in both countries can contribute. And once we have agreed on a general topic, we look at the research that is already being done and consult with researchers for example, through groups like the Netherlands Knowledge House. And we look at how else Indonesia and the Netherlands work together, for example, through our embassies, to identify the knowledge gaps where research projects can contribute, so that we can mutually strengthen each other. And this has resulted in the calls that you see listed here on the screen. At least I hope so, because I can't read it. The most recent one, it was already mentioned this morning, is on sustainable blue economies. It was launched in July and it is currently open for applications.
Okay. As mentioned by Professor Margot, we agree that this all work toward overall aim of the program to address societal challenge together to accelerate transition to the sustainable development, and also to strengthen the research collaboration between Indonesia and the Netherlands. Also, we build knowledge and innovative solution with potential for high societal impact, and to facilitate interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary research by Indonesia and Dutch research group and partner from the industry and practices.
But thank you, Pak Taktang. We don't simply fund and forget. Indeed, the research and collaboration happening in these projects, it's far too exciting to only be satisfied with a written report once a year. That is why we also host an annual meeting once a year, to which all our funded projects are invited to exchange information on first results, to sharpen plans for working on impact, but also to simply share experiences of their research. This sharing can be, of course, on content results, but it can also mean, for example, that PhD students meet others working like them in cross-cultural projects and build a network. Or it can mean that when COVID restrictions were in place, projects could exchange best practices for continuing their research while respecting the health regulations that were in place. Projects are also asked from the beginning to consider what societal issues they address, who needs to do what differently in order to reach the societal impact they want to contribute to, and what that means for the types of questions the project seeks to answer, and the stakeholders the project engages with. Making that translation, as we all know, is not always easy, as we sometimes speak, I think we often speak, different languages, even between different scientific disciplines.
Yeah.
Never mind different types of organizations and different countries. But from guidelines for veterinarians about the use of antibiotics on poultry farms, to roadmaps to help cities make their poorest neighborhoods more resilient to flooding, researchers and practitioners in these projects work together to bring research results into practice. And we are really excited that two of these projects are here today, so that they can share their experience with you. Dr. Jaco Quist will tell us about the results of the Ideal Regional Development Planning and Ideal Lifestyle of Future Indonesia project. It's by the Bandung Institute for Technology and Delft University of Technology. And it aims to develop a strategic renewable energy implementation plan for Bali and Kalimantan, which ensures regional economic growth for both regions and minimizes carbon dioxide emissions. And then there is another project. Professor Srihadi Agung Priyono and Professor Spencer Moore will tell us about the plans of the project, a whole of society approach to health system resiliency and pandemic preparedness in Indonesia, which is a project by the Bogor Agricultural University and Wageningen University, funded this year, that will look at making the Indonesian healthcare system more resilient against highly pathogenic avian influenza. Through both projects, though both projects look specifically at the Indonesian context, The problems they address are part of larger global challenges, as we all know, that affect people not only in Indonesia or in the Netherlands, but worldwide. And we surely hope that you're going to enjoy their presentations and that you will be inspired by the interesting work being done both by these projects and by the many other projects in the Cooperation Indonesia the Netherlands program and in projects later this winter week. So on behalf of Kemendikbud Ristek and the Dutch Research Council, thank you. Enjoy.
Very much. Thank you. As you mentioned, we're going to delve deeper into these two sample projects.
Yes. Yeah.
Now I'm going to call upon Dr. Jaco Quist from Technical University Delft to share his experience of collaboration. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone here in the room, and of course, selamat siang for everyone in Jakarta. Thank you very much for the honorable invitation to tell something about transdisciplinary research cooperation for the energy transition in Indonesia, in particular some of the results that we achieved in a collaborative project between TU Delft and Institute Technology Bandung. My name is Jaco Quist, and if I can get the next slide, please. I hope there is, otherwise I can just continue. Yes. This slide just gives you a few things, an overview of the people in the project. So our official title was Regional Development Planning and Ideal Lifestyles of Future Indonesia by Utilizing Advanced Green Energy Technology and Interdisciplinary Approaches. And I just show you that the lead researchers were Dr. Harkunti Rahayu from IT Bandung, and on the Dutch side, on the TU Delft side, Cornelis Blok. Together with me, my colleague Oliver Hoes, and we had early career researchers Jannis Langer, who recently finished his PhD on the project, and Indra Al-Isiat and Dr. Abida Situati, who worked as a postdoc for the project. What I would like to say, we started this project in the mid of COVID, so that was not an easy start. Of course, it was difficult for all of us, but we were very glad that we could use the online tools to start meeting and start the project anyway. And we're also glad at that time that we had that to continue our education. Otherwise, we would have to send our students home and we might not have seen them in a couple of years. But that helped us to start. I will also say that when we could meet again 2 years later, that really helped our collaboration a lot because it was a new collaboration. But I would also like to say that there were, of course, many researchers also involved on the Indonesian side. So if I can get the next slide. Just to give an overview of the Indonesian team. And I also show you that they combined senior researchers from many disciplines, many groups at IT Bandung. And they were collaborating with an equally large team of junior researchers whose name I also mentioned here on the slide. Then we worked on the energy transition in Indonesia in different ways, and the overview is shown on the next slide. I won't go into detail, but you can see that most of the work packages and most of the work was actually done on the Indonesian side, and then here in Delft or here in the Netherlands, we also worked on energy system side of the energy transition, and on making transdisciplinary scenarios for renewable energy futures at the regional level. So moving on to some results, because I will say also a lot about the cooperation, but as researcher, I also would like to share some of the main results that we got in a nutshell. And for that, I would like to ask for the next slide. And one more, please. Yes, so most of the work, we had Bali as a case study, and there was work on the energy potentials on the island. How can that be used for renewable energy scenarios for the future? And there we see that most of this work was done by IT Bandung, and they did not only the research, but they also put that in a policy brief, which then at the end of the case study, they officially offered to the governor of Bali. So this research is not only about creating the research results or the scientific results, but this is impactful research. So we want to have knowledge utilization, we want to stimulate the awareness and the understanding of the knowledge that is being generated. And say our colleagues of the ETB team were able to bring that to the regional levels of government and to the governor on Bali, which is a really very nice achievement, and which shows what you can achieve or when you focus or when you include that in your research. There's also for a reason, or not for, in the sense of that's also this impact, creating impact, to work transdisciplinary and include stakeholder engagement was an important part of the call, but was also an important part, therefore, by the activities that we did. Not just the scientific dissemination, but dissemination and utilization and interaction on the results and collaboration of that with stakeholders in society. Then going on to some more results. The next slide, please. Now I also will say a few things very briefly on the results that we achieved at the Delft site, but also, of course, in collaboration with the colleagues from ETB. And we can only say, we all know that Indonesia is very rich in renewable resources. There's plenty of resources, potentials to for renewable energy to meet the whole demand of the whole country by 2050. We were very lucky on the way, and we could actually notice the difference between before and after. That while we were in the project, that after about 1 year, that Indonesia government took the decision of the net zero 2060 by 2060, and that we could notice that before that, different before that, and after that, how much interest it raised. But just getting back to these resources, there's a lot of solar, but there's also a lot of wind. There's a considerable potential for hydropower, for bioenergy, for geothermal, and also for ocean energy. And we particularly looked into ocean thermal energy conversion. And just show you some of our results on the next slide. This is work by the PhD researcher Jannes Langer, who is no longer a PhD because he defended his thesis successfully just before summer. But this slide shows where the potentials are. And it says, adding that up, and that was actually an update of the existing information on the potentials. There are quite some conservative estimates, but we detailed that quite some steps. And we found out that there is plenty up to 5 times enough renewable energy potential to meet the future demand of energy of Indonesia. So these are also complementary sources, not only intermittent sources like wind and solar, but also more steady baseload power sources like hydro, OTEC, and geothermal. And this all was put in a model, which I show on the next slide, to look and do what is then the techno-economic optimal solution. And that means that you have to put all the sources and their costs, so the technology costs, in a model, and you have to put also the storage options, and then you can look how that will work out and what will be the cost over time if you make this transition as a country. This was done for 2 options. We came one with connecting the islands and one without connecting the islands. And that is important because most of the demand is on the island of Java, while the space of the land available for renewable generation is quite limited. I'll show quickly on the next slide what that showed. And I won't go into the details, but I just would like to say is that that it will be possible, that it will be affordable in the sense, well, it will require huge investments, but I also would like to mention that this work showed 2 important things. One, it will be possible to achieve that already by 2050, so that is before the 2060 target. But I also would like to mention that we found out that in terms of costs, when you do it with inter-island connections, it will be possible to achieve that already by 2040, if the countries can start as soon as possible, and that the option with inter-island connections, despite of all the infrastructure investments, will be cheaper, about 10 to 15% cheaper than without inter-island connection, because then you need much more storage options. Just going on, we looked into the regional energy planning processes in both Bali and Kalimantan, and then we found that the interest in that increased a lot after this net zero 2060 decision was taken. And we also did a case study on the province of South Kalimantan. This one was conducted by the postdoc, Dr. Indra Al-Siad, who was on leave from BRIN. And just one of the lessons that we learned, if you want to, it's very important to collaborate, but also on the Dutch side of the team, you are in strong need to have researchers included that have knowledge of the local context and that have local knowledge of the local networks and can go around. So thanks to Dr. Indra, we could do this case study in South Kalimantan, which is a coal-rich province, and we found out that they were already strategically thinking about the far future when they would run out of coal reserves or when they would have to cut down their coal exploitations. And just going on to the next slide, we used that. We had workshops, we had a focus group, and we defined like a clean energy transition map for the province. I won't go into the details, but I just would like to say that it's not only about implementing technology, but also about cultural changes that will be needed and structural economic changes that will be needed. And that was well received also because of the economic gains that could give. Then getting to the cooperation, and give me the next slide, please. This is the roadmap summarized. Two more, please. Next slide, and one more. Yes. So our cooperation became much stronger and much better when we really could meet. So we had the opportunity to go there, to have more in-depth discussions, to spend some more time together, to discuss more about the issues, but also to have some focus groups with stakeholders, for instance, in Jakarta. And that's something that as a foreign researcher, you cannot do so easily. You really need the way, you need to know the networks, you need to know the right people. So here we owe a lot to our colleagues from ITU Bandung. So in addition to the research discussions we had and the teaching, the guest lectures we gave, we had meetings with prominent stakeholders like the Energy Council and PLN in Jakarta. So next slide, please. A little bit more about a few examples of the stakeholder engagements that we did have. I'm just mentioning one more time the focus group discussion with the stakeholders in Jakarta. This is on the upper left. Below that, that's the focus group discussion we had in the province of South Kalimantan about 1 year later. And on the right, so this cooperation was not only about research cooperation, but also about capacity building. There we see that, and knowledge exchange. We had some joint seminars, one with BRIN and one in Bandung, at ITB Bandung itself. Say a little bit more about other impacts, which I show you on the next slide. Yes, so as this capacity building is key to our research, I just would like to mention that we paid a lot of attention to that. So we organized during one of the 2 weeks training for the early career researchers of ITB, the early career research team at ITB. We looked into follow-up collaborations. We had some symposiums and workshops on the Delft side when the ITB team was visiting TU Delft. But I also would like to highlight a few less expected We also had like 15 master projects with Delft students working on topics related or in the project. And it was very interesting to see that that attracted quite a few of the Indonesian students taking the master in Delft. So half of these 15 projects were done by Indonesian students taking a master program in Delft, but also then being able to work on those topics that are relevant for the energy transition in Indonesia. So that's like a really win-win. There was capacity building and it gave useful results for us as researchers. We had these focus groups, different places. We made these policy briefs, important impacts results from our collaboration. And we had a follow-up trip to communicate and discuss our results just earlier this year in April and May. And I also would like to highlight, and you see that here on your right, that we organized an online seminar, online Capita Selecta seminars, together with IT Bandung on topics relevant to the Indonesian energy transition. Important there is to mention that there was equal input from both sides. But we started more as a formal course, but then we opened up that it actually became kind of public webinars. And then we saw increasing interest and attendance up to hundreds of people at a time. Just would like to continue to wrap it up. I'm very sorry. Yeah, the next thing is that we're going to look at the UNICOS collaboration also for the energy. A few things have already been said about it, so let's just go to the last slide to wrap this up. So in conclusion, this is very, so there was a great opportunity provided by the funding by NWO and by RESTEC, so on both sides. And none of this would have happened if you wouldn't have got this grant. So we are very thankful for that, and we are happy to have this cooperation, but we have had this cooperation, but we can learn from our project that you need to include so face-to-face and to exchange to build trust and exchange and a common base for that. If you want to have impact in society, stakeholder engagement is very, very important, also to understand the complexity of the issues, the possible solutions, and the views of stakeholders on that. Very important to have a lot of early career and education in that, like we did. And we also found that this collaboration is a good basis for follow-up and spin-off. And say, for just to summarize, is that this kind of impact interdisciplinary research only possible if you have programs like the Miriam program at NWO. And that's what I would like to leave it here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. Very much appreciate. For the last part of this session, I would like to invite two speakers. One I would like to invite here to the stage, Professor Spencer from Wageningen University and Research. He's chair of the Health and Society Group. And joining us online is Professor Srihadi Agung Priyono, Professor of Veterinary Medicine at IPB, the Bogor Institute of Agricultural Institute. Please. I heard he's online, so.
Yeah, he's ready.
Professor Srihadi is going to be
here. Yeah.
And after this,
Professor Srihadi? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear my voice?
Yours. We can hear you. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to introduce myself. I am Srihadi Agung Priyono from Bogor Agriculture University, Bogor, Indonesia. And I serve as the principal investigator from the Indonesian side on the NWO and Ministry of Education, Culture and Research Technology, Indonesia, funded research project entitled A Whole of Society Approach to Health System Resiliency and Pandemic Preparedness in Indonesia, which is collaborative project involving Bogor Agriculture University, the University of Indonesia, Wageningen University and Research, and Utrecht University as the consortium members. I will deliver the presentation together with Professor Spencer Moore from the Wageningen University and Research. Excuse me. Next slide, please. Yes. Yes. So since the formation of the Intergovernmental Government Group for Indonesia, IGGI, in 1967, the Netherlands has been pivotal in supporting Indonesia, collaborating with Indonesia through various investment and assistance schemes in various fields, including education, of course, agriculture, and health. So among the important Netherlands supported programs in the field of animal husbandry and animal health, Bogor Agriculture University played active roles, such as in the Asia Link program at the time for the reproductive biotechnology in 2003 until 2006, and also in the Indonesia-Dutch Partnership IDP program in the prevention and control of the highly pathogenic avian influenza in 2010 to 2013. And of course, continuously, IPB University and Wageningen University and research has been collaborating in the project called INREF, Interdisciplinary Research and Education Fund, funded project for from 2019 until 2027 will be, namely the development of smart agriculture and smart farming, or smart Indonesian agriculture, in order to improve the quality of agricultural, livestock, and animal health management that has been affected partly by the avian flu and COVID-19 outbreaks at the time. And of course, there are several other collaborative projects currently underway, as mentioned in the slide, involving different fields of works. We do hope this partnership will continue to expand and grow stronger to create more impact. Next slide, please. So the success of a research project is greatly influenced by, so among other things, is the right expertise of the team members, in addition to various research support facility, of course. In the field of agriculture, health, socioeconomics, the Netherlands has world-class experts. In our research project, a whole of society approach to health system resiliency and pandemic preparedness in Indonesia, we are closely working together with the Netherlands distinguished expert in various fields. In a team led by Professor Spencer Moore, we have also Professor Henk Hogeven, Professor Marlene Becker from Wageningen University and Research, and also, of course, Professor Arjan Stegeman from Utrecht. This expert will collaborate with Indonesian researchers led by myself and also Dr. Denny Lukman, Dr. Eti Sudarnika from IPB University, and Dr. Betty Ernawati Dewi from University of Indonesia as the work package leaders in a team that consists also of some researchers of multidisciplinary background and also some PhD students, of course. Next slide, please. So in this slide, the slides show the team members from both of the Indonesian and Netherlands side who has been working together in developing the research proposal, starting from to make together the research proposal and ideas, and continue to hope that continue to implement the research activities. So importantly, our team also involves cross-sector stakeholders who play an important role in assuring feasible and actionable work and actively supporting the smooth implementation in the field. We are thankful for the full support from the health service, animal husbandry service, and also the market service in Bogor municipality and Regency. In addition, we will also involve a group of farmers, livestock breeders, and related market traders in this work to really model of a whole of society approach. So next, I would like to invite Professor Spencer from Wageningen to convey some information related to this research in brief. Prof. Spencer, time is yours.
Thank you, Professor Srihadi, and thank you for the opportunity to speak here today about the work that we're looking to conduct over the next few years. It's a real honor to be speaking in front of such a distinguished audience, both in person and online. It's also my honor to be leading the Netherlands-based research team of researchers at Wageningen University as well as Utrecht, and also my honor to be working closely with my new colleagues from Indonesia at IPB and the University of Indonesia through the support of Kemendikbud and the Dutch Research Council. Next slide. So avian influenza is a highly contagious disease that affects both domestic and wild animals. But the virus can also cross species from birds into mammals, including humans. The complex disease is caused by viruses often divided into multiple subtypes, including, as you may know, H5N1, whose genetic characteristics can continually evolve. HPAI viruses are endemic in many regions globally, including Europe. From 2020 to 2023, there were over 14,000 reported outbreaks of HPAI within the farming communities in Europe. The risk for human health is mostly limited right now to the animal-human interface where people connect directly to with infected animals. Yet the geographical expansion of HPAI continues to threaten human and animal health. People from 17 countries across 5 different continents have been infected by one of the 5 emerging subtypes since 2019. And since 2003, there have been 878 human cases of HPAI with 458 deaths, representing the case fatality rate of over 50%. And of these cases, 200 were in Indonesia, and 168 deaths as a result, an even higher case fatality rate. HPAI thus represents a serious and evolving threat to both human and animal health. Next slide, please. Given the zoonotic nature of HPAI, it is essential to use One Health prevention approaches and to address the emerging threats. What does this mean? So One Health aims to sustainably balance and optimize the health of people with that of animals, plants, and the environment more generally. One Health approaches seek to foster communication, collaboration, and coordination across sectors, disciplines, and communities in the effort to further the capacity of these interconnected systems. What this might mean, for example, at the local level, is thinking carefully about how our community health worker systems in a village may interface more directly with the animal health systems or poultry health workers, so that a more holistic, whole of society kind of delivery system can be in place. We layer our One Health perspective with a whole of society approach, and these whole of society approaches embrace civil society as well as public and private sectors to pursue common policy solutions to complex problems. Next slide, please. So our project consists of 5 work packages. These 5 packages aim together to foster capacity and resiliency across sectors to address the challenge of HPAI to human and animal health. Work Package 1 addresses governance issues surrounding risks for community resilience from a One Health perspective. Here we will be conducting stakeholder interviews and working with regional and metropolitan public authorities in Indonesia to develop a greater understanding of the implementation and scaling conditions surrounding One Health approaches. Work Package 2 takes us into local communities to work closely with farmers, community health workers, poultry health workers, sellers, and consumers of poultry. We implement and pilot interventions designed to improve local skills and knowledge, but also to break the silos existing between community and animal health systems. Work Package 3 aims to develop communication mechanisms, effective guidelines for monitoring and data sharing, and integrate surveillance systems across sectors to foster greater understanding, foster greater resiliency and capacity in terms of HPAI surveillance systems. Work Package 4 approaches HPAI at the molecular level to address the challenge of early detection of HPAI, such that One Health surveillance systems can be more rapidly activated. Work Package 5 uses complex systems approaches to develop an agent-based model to test virtually the potential consequences and effects of different One Health policy interventions. Next slide, please. So overall, as we proceed over the next 4 years, We are looking to contribute in different ways. First, to focus on a shift from narrow, often siloed approaches to disease control to those that are more broad, One Health prevention efforts. The shift from disease-driven transmission surveillance systems to more participatory risk assessment and mapping systems at the community level. Intersectoral policies and coordination structures for pandemic preparedness and response. And then finally, strengthen collaboration and mutual learnings between Indonesia and the Netherlands. And now I'd like to turn it back to Professor Srihadi.
Thank you very much, Professor Spencer Moore. I would like to continue. Next slide, please. Yes, so we can say that the value of the project moving forward will include the following. Strengthen cross-sectoral and interdisciplinary collaboration, develop evidence-based policy, community empowerment and health education, develop a strong healthcare structure, strengthen early warning and rapid response system, and strengthen governance and transparency. Next slide, please. And the expected impact of this research project may include the improved AI disease control and prevention, strengthen public health infrastructure, social and economic benefits, and also protection of the livelihoods, a better public awareness and engagement, informed and effective policymaking, and also, of course, ecosystem conservation, which all will contribute to a better global health security. Next slide, please. At present, the emergence of outbreaks is influenced by complex multifactors. The One Health approach using whole of society is one appropriate choice to involve and impact multi-sectors to overcome outbreak events. The whole of society approach provides a holistic framework and ensures the involvement of all sectors and levels of society to synergize in preventing and controlling the avian influenza. The whole of society approach will also strengthen and accelerate the response to health threats through good coordination between various parties from the government to general public. Thus, the future direction of this research activity will focus on integrating various societal sectors to develop comprehensive and resilient strategies for the prevention and control and also the response. Also aim to build more resilient health system and create a unified multidisciplinary approach that integrates health, agriculture, economy, environment, and governance. Importantly, when there is a potential disease outbreak, the response can be carried out more quickly and efficiently with the involvement of all elements of the society. So with that, I would like to thank the NWO and also Kemdikbudristek of Indonesia and LPDP for supporting this project. And we also thank and appreciate all the support from our partners and stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Moore and Professor Priono, for your excellent contribution. We had a very rich morning already in terms of content and VIPs. It also means we have run a little bit late, later than expected with the coffee break. And that unfortunately means that your coffee break will be reduced from half an hour to only 15 minutes. And the coffee break is for the people here in the theater, of course, and also for the people at home or in the office who are following us online. So we plan to be back here just a little bit after 11:30. And I hope you enjoyed the first part of the 5th edition of Winner. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Lihatlah putih melati dan tulip jingga, tumbuh di taman hati negeri berbeda. Namun keduanya miliki hal sama, puspita penjelma bahagia. Taman hatiku bukanlah ladang tempur, taman hatiku kini ladang bersyukur. Jangan menatap perih masa lalu, tataplah masangan mendatang. Sebagai hamparan ilmu saling bekerja sama antar dua negara dalam bidang pendidikan dan penelitian. Perkuat persahabatan, berbagi kesempatan, memperdalam ilmu pengetahuan, beraneka ragamnya. Lihatlah putih melati dan tulip jingga, mekar berseri semarak suasana, bersama wujudkan damai di dunia, melangkah maju dan semua akan menjadi pemenang. Werking tussen de twee prachtige landen in het onderwijs en onderzoek en wetenschap verdiepen. Daarnaast onze vriendschap versterken en gelijke kansen bieden voor beide op verschillende gebieden. Wij zijn allemaal Lihatlah putih melati dan tulip jingga, tumbuh di taman hati negeri berbeda. Namun keduanya miliki hal sama, puspita penjelma bahagia. Taman hatiku bukanlah ladang tempur, taman hatiku kini ladang bersyukur. Jangan menatap perih masa lalu, tataplah masangan mendatang. Sebagai hamparan ilmu saling bekerja sama antar dua negara dalam bidang pendidikan dan penelitian. Perkuat persahabatan, berbagi kesempatan, memperdalam ilmu pengetahuan, beraneka ragamnya. Lihatlah putih melati dan tulip jingga, mekar berseri semarak suasana, bersama wujudkan damai di dunia, melangkah maju dan semua akan menjadi pemenang. Samenwerking tussen de twee prachtige landen in het onderwijs en onderzoek en wetenschap verdiepen. Daarnaast onze vriendschap versterken en gelijke kansen bieden voor beide op verschillende gebieden. Wij zijn allemaal Lihatlah putih melati dan tulip jingga, tumbuh di taman hati negeri berbeda. Namun keduanya miliki hal sama, puspita penjelma bahagia. Taman hatiku bukanlah ladang tempur, taman hatiku kini ladang bersyukur. Jangan menatap perih masa lalu, tataplah masa nan mendatang. Sebagai hamparan ilmu saling bekerja sama antar dua negara dalam bidang pendidikan dan penelitian. Perkuat persahabatan, berbagi kesempatan, memperdalam ilmu pengetahuan, beraneka ragamnya. putih melati dan tulip jingga mekar berseri semarak suasana bersama wujudkan damai di dunia melangkah maju dan semua akan menjadi pemenang. Werking tussen de twee prachtige landen in het onderwijs en onderzoek en wetenschap verdiepen. Daarnaast onze vriendschap versterken en gelijke kansen bieden voor beide verschillende gebieden. Wij zijn allemaal Lihatlah putih melati dan tulip jingga tumbuh di taman hati negeri berbeda. Namun keduanya miliki hal sama, puspita penjelma bahagia. Taman hatiku bukanlah ladang tempur, taman hatiku kini ladang bersyukur. Jangan menatap perih masa lalu, tataplah masa nan mendatang. Sebagai hamparan ilmu saling bekerja sama antar dua negara dalam bidang pendidikan dan penelitian. Perkuat persahabatan, berbagi kesempatan, memperdalam ilmu pengetahuan, beraneka ragamnya. Lihatlah putih melati dan tulip jingga mekar berseri semarak suasana bersama wujudkan damai di dunia melangkah maju dan semua akan menjadi pemenang. onderwijs en onderzoek en wetenschap verdiepen. Daarnaast onze vriendschap versterken en gelijke kansen bieden voor beide op verschillende gebieden. Wij zijn allemaal Lihatlah putih melati dan tulip jingga tumbuh di taman hati negeri berbeda. Namun keduanya miliki hal sama, puspita penjelma bahagia. Taman hatiku bukanlah ladang tempur, taman hatiku kini ladang bersyukur. Jangan menatap perih masa lalu, tataplah masangan mendatang. Sebagai hamparan ilmu saling bekerja sama antar dua negara dalam bidang pendidikan dan penelitian. Perkuat persahabatan, berbagi kesempatan, memperdalam ilmu pengetahuan, beraneka ragamnya. Lihatlah putih melati dan tulip jingga mekar berseri semarak suasana, bersama wujudkan damai di dunia, melangkah maju dan semua akan menjadi pemenang. Samenwerking tussen de twee prachtige landen in het onderwijs en onderzoek en wetenschap verdiepen. Daarnaast onze vriendschap versterken en gelijke kansen bieden voor beide op verschillende gebieden. Wij zijn allemaal winnaars.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Late morning. Selamat sore in Indonesia. We're glad that everybody has come back, and especially here in the theater, I'm very impressed with how disciplined you have been to return quickly to your seats. Thanks for that. We're now going to join a very interesting, I think, I will not be in your way, so people can also see you. Interesting panel discussion on the benefits and societal impact of international partnerships, and of course, focusing on the partnership between Indonesia and the Netherlands. Avi and I will now introduce the 5 panelists we have here. Let me start with Professor Rizal Sebastian, Professor of Future Urban Systems at the The Hague University of Applied Sciences and Senior Advisor on Digitalization at the Netherlands Enterprise Agency, RVO. Then we have Ms. Judith de Blois, a teacher of pedagogy MBO Rijnland, volunteer at the Dahuni Foundation. She lived in Indonesia for 1.5 years during her studies. So we're very keen to learn from you how it is to study in Indonesia as a Dutch student. And she interned there at international and local schools in Yogyakarta and volunteered also for the foundation I already mentioned.
Okay, the third speaker is Professor Arnold Tukke, Professor of Industrial Ecology at the Institute of Environmental Sciences at Leiden University and guest professor at Universitas Pajajaran or UNPAD. And the fourth speaker is Professor Agus Haryono. We introduced him to you before. He's the Deputy Chairman for the Facilitation of Research and Innovation. He was challenged to establish new bilateral matching fund for joint research collaboration in order to strengthen global research network between Indonesian researchers and their foreign partners, including the Netherlands. And last but not least, Associate Professor Zenlin Kui, Associate Professor at Delft University of Technology. She's from Indonesia and came to the Netherlands through STUNET for a master's degree, and she now leads a collaborative research project on pandemic preparedness and resilient healthcare systems between Indonesia and the Netherlands, funded by the NWO and also NWO Indonesian Marian Fund.
Great. And we will go for a free flow of questions. So we will ask some questions to certain panelists and maybe not to others. But if you want to speak up, feel free to raise your hand. Let me start with Prof. Rizal. Would you be able to give us some real-life examples of the collaboration between Indonesia and the Netherlands from your personal perspective, and also maybe reflect on its strategic importance?
Right. So thank you, Marvin. Thank you, Bu Evi. Good morning, everyone. Selamat siang buat teman-teman di Indonesia. Well, first of all, I'd like to say huge congratulations for the first lustrum of the 5th anniversary of Winner, right?
Wow, yeah. Thank you.
And that brings me back to your questions about real examples and real benefits and impacts. I think first of all, because Winner is not just a one-off event, thanks to the continuing effort year after year, the first benefit is we are able to build friendship beyond just collaboration. I think it's very important as a basis, as a foundation for a long-lasting relation and collaboration. Especially if you think like we are not just going for instant results from the collaboration, but we are running in a marathon, right? This morning we heard a lot of societal challenges, how to make our world more future-proof, more sustainable, and those are issues which are not going to be solved just in the short term. So friendship as a basis for long-term collaboration, I think that's a very valuable contribution of Winner. Well, I think I'd like to mention 2 others shortly. The second benefit, it's quite obvious. We have seen a lot of knowledge exchange and knowledge sharing between different institutions from the Netherlands and from Indonesia. And the establishment of the NL Knowledge House Indonesia 2 years ago has made it even more obvious and has given the possibility to give a direction, right? That not only just collaboration, individual institutions, but more programmatic approach, connecting to different policies and different possibilities and programs. I think that's the second benefit. And the last one, I think we are not stopping at knowledge sharing and knowledge exchange, but we want to make a real impact by putting this knowledge into practice. And this is something that I want to give example. Last year, during the previous edition of Winner in Jakarta, the NL Knowledge House Indonesia launched a new initiative which is called the Living Labs. I'm part of this team together with some of the colleagues from Nuffic, Nanya Burki, my colleague Jerko Verskor, and William Sanchez from Saxion University, and a number of other colleagues. Last year, we announced this Living Lab during the winter conference, and we didn't know how people will react. But later on, we were very happily surprised. We got more than 30 proposals to establish Living Labs collaboration between Indonesia and the Netherlands by knowledge institutions, companies, and even connecting to governments. And well, later on, I can give more examples, but I think for now, these are the tangible things that we have seen so far. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much, Prof. Rizal. Yeah, friendship as a foundation for sustainable collaboration and the involvement of various sectors in the collaboration is very important. But then again, sometimes collaboration doesn't happen naturally. We need a bridge. And this is what Prof. Rizal has mentioned as the role of Netherlands Knowledge House. Now I'm going to go to Judith. You spent some time in Indonesia as a student. I was wondering if you can tell us how this time in Indonesia has shaped and nurtured your talent development and how we can involve groups that are perhaps missing out on the impacts of collaboration.
Well, thank you. That's true. I've lived for 1.5 years in Indonesia, and I've studied there and I worked there at schools. I also worked for a foundation, as you said before, who organized educational events for students from rural areas, and there we also shared knowledge with each other. And for me personally, my biggest benefit was make my mind more open-minded. I think that's something you hear more often, but it's so interesting if you immerse yourself in another culture and learn new perspectives on life in general, I would say. And by studying in Indonesia, I also learned new things. Like, for example, I could follow courses over there, which I couldn't follow in the Netherlands. What was also interesting for me by that time, I was studying there. My academic skills were not that high yet as the students over there, so I could learn from them, and they learned from me by hearing how we studied in the Netherlands and how things went over there. So for me, collaboration is very useful, I would say.
First-hand experience of collaboration.
And what Evie was asking, do you also have ideas for how we can make this experience more inclusive, how we can also include other groups into this experience?
Well, by sharing these experiences with each other, and telling each other about the benefits, I would say, and from both sides, because I think for me, my perspective have changed. You know, you come there, you have your own perspective from this country where you were born, because I'm raised in the Netherlands. So you come there, you see totally different things, and I think if you have an open mind and you want to learn from that in any case, then you can learn a lot, I think.
Great. I would like to stay with the student experience, and I'm looking at you, Zenlin. You came to the Netherlands with a scholarship, a student scholarship, for a master's. How have you experienced the transition from coming from Indonesia to here?
Thank you for asking, Marvin. Of course, getting student is a life-changing experience for me, because it really transformed my life. I lived in Indonesia until I finished my bachelor. I also worked for a couple of years, but it was always my passion to study abroad. And the thing is, I didn't want to use my parents' money to go and study abroad. So at that time, I applied for the student scholarship, Studeren in Nederland. And I was very happy that I got the scholarship, and I can come to the Netherlands to do my master. And that opens up many doors for me, including the next offer, which is doing the PhD in Rotterdam School of Management. And I've been working in TU Delft for the last 15 years. So that's not only as personal for my personal development growth, but also it opens up new networks for me. like being an academic, I could have these benefits of the two countries in the sense that I can tap into the more systematic database in the Netherlands. The facilities are wonderful for doing research, but I would also like to use this to have a more nuanced perspective, not only looking at the developed countries. So we are talking about global north, but bridging that to the global south. I think that is a wonderful experience. So in conclusion, I think it really has provided me with a lot of opportunities to collaborate as well.
And to make it a little bit more concrete, you have been involved in a project called Paraatheid, which is an NWO project, also collaborating with Indonesia and the Netherlands. What has that brought you?
Yes, that was actually a very relevant question. So we had a kickoff meeting yesterday for our Paraatheid project, and this is not the first time I applied for the project. I did that 4 years ago, but I didn't get it. But I was very determined to get involved in another application. So when there was NWO Marion call open in the topic of health resilience, preparedness, pandemic preparedness, first of all, I thought, okay, this is the opportunity that I really have to seize on. So I collected my colleagues with the expertise from the TU Delft, but also linking my previous network where I did my master together, one of the fellow classmates, and he linked me with partners from ITB, ITB, UI, and also the NGO Perkumpulan Inisiatif. So it is kind of, it's amazing to see that I don't know all of these consortium partners at the beginning, but once you are connected to somebody you can trust and that somebody had their own networks, you could sort of build on this mutual trust as well. And building on this expertise, we successfully getting the funding of this NWO Marion Fund, and we will be working on that. And we hope to also make a kind of a societal impact, long-term impact as well, to see how the COVID-19 case, for example, how we can learn from each other. In the Netherlands, the infrastructure is better developed compared to Indonesia, but Indonesia also has a kind of a different local context that make them very adaptable when the crisis hit the nation. So we could learn from each other, and we could also integrate that even at the global level, looking at the World Health Organization framework, for example. So we see lots of opportunities, and we are really looking forward to get this project started and work on this.
This is indeed very fascinating project, Ibu. What I'd like to highlight from what Zerling just mentioned is like, developing trust and then resource sharing and also nurturing talents that we just talked about, this morning. I would like to relate this to Arnold, who is an adjunct professor at UNPAD, and you have two PhD students working on a very interesting topic, which is assessing SDGs. Okay, I want to know how this unfolds, like this collaboration started, and then how this has been beneficial for you and also your counterparts.
Yeah, thanks. A very interesting question. I think it almost started not entirely by accident, but one of my colleagues went to UNPAD and we had written down like, okay, if you want to do a PhD with us, this would be a good subject. And out of the blue, a guy called Victor Pimana, he emailed me and we looked at him and we checked and then he said, yeah, okay, let's do that with you. And from there, the ball started rolling. And when I still recall, there was a very interesting meeting about 7-8 years ago when Victor said, you have to meet my boss. And so I was somewhere in Jakarta. I was invited to the financial club. That sounded already very posh. And I was introduced to a lady who said, okay, I'm Armida Ali Shabana. I had no clue. Many people, of course, in the audience will know, from Indonesia will know. She started to talk, of course, the small talk about where you come from, that kind of things. And you heard the word the ministry. And I said, oh, did you work at the ministry?
Yeah.
No, I was the minister. And then, of course, you can imagine I was sitting there with like, oh my God, what is happening here? And okay, but yeah, she was the supervisor of Victor at that point, and I was sitting there. And from that moment on, we started to build, if you talk about trust, relation building, alongside the PhD that developed indeed a whole system of, let's say, environmental and economic accounts for Indonesia, which was very relevant for Armida at that point because she was leading the Sustainable Development Goals Center at UNPAD. So one of the main knowledge centers trying to implement sustainability in Indonesia. Well, then it continued. You got more PhDs. You got really a very good relationship with the staff at UNPAD. By the way, Armida at some point actually became the Secretary General of ESCAP, which is the UN Organization of Asia, one level below Guterres. Yeah, so, you know, I mean, if you talk about relationship building and that kind of things, that is what I've learned from this. I mean, that you see, what you see actually with all of us, you build a lot of relations, you build a lot of trust, you really connect each other on very important subjects. I was really impressed by the talk by Jaco Quist about this whole analysis, how you can make actually Indonesia carbon neutral with regard to energy provision. I mean, TU Delft is one of the champions there worldwide, and you really can collaborate together on doing these things. I think that it's extremely important to do that at the different levels, not only to have the ministers signing an MOU, no, it has to be carried by the work that we are doing. And I think in the current geopolitical context, it's even more important. I think it's not a secret that if you look at Asia these days, it's very much dominated by China, then India, and then you have this group of countries called ASEAN, in which Indonesia is one of the biggest. I think it's really crucial for countries in the West and the Netherlands to have good friends in Asia, which you build by these kind of developments. And it's also in the interest of Indonesia and the other Asian countries, not actually totally to become dependent of the big brother, you know, in Beijing. So I think that are the kind of things that really have to develop and foster. And I'm also pretty sure that you can develop a lot of economic benefits and economic relations with that. So yeah, I'm very happy that this is happening.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Sounds really interesting.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, and having heard these quite concrete experience, Prof. Agus, as you are the only government representative here at the panel table, may I ask you, how do you, from a government perspective, look at international collaboration, especially in this case, the bilateral collaboration between Indonesia and the Netherlands from a strategic perspective, a policy framework, but also what kind of instruments does the government make available to foster this?
Thank you for the question. Currently, the number of researchers from Netherlands that doing research in Indonesia, that means the collaboration between Netherlands researcher with the Indonesian researcher is still number 7 compared with the other countries, USA, United Kingdom, Japan, China, and others. But the number of researchers from Netherlands that carried out research in Indonesia year by year increasing. For example, from 2022, when we opened the borders after the COVID-19 pandemic, the number of researchers from Netherlands is increasing from 18 researchers in 2022 and then 46 last year. And this year, maybe will increase again more than 70 researchers. We hope that the number of researcher bilateral collaboration between Indonesian and Netherlands researcher will be increased in the near future. And what is the importance? The collaboration between Indonesia and Netherlands researcher is to improve the quality of research in Indonesia, as mentioned before in the presentation of our colleagues in the session in the morning, that Indonesian researchers try to increase the number of publications, but we still lack in the quality of publications. So with the bilateral collaboration between Indonesia and Netherlands researchers, we hope that we can increase or improve the quality of our publication, our quality of research itself.
And maybe in general, from a research and innovation perspective, because that's where you are based, what do you see as the main benefit from the international exchange of knowledge?
The collaboration from bilateral collaboration should be begin from the people and people connection, or bottom-up approach collaboration is very important rather than top-down approach to be considered as the main force to have long-lasting collaboration. So that this type of winner conference maybe is the best option to have a matchmaking collaboration between Indonesia and Netherlands in the future, so that the number of collaboration between two countries will be increasing in the future.
Yeah. I second that, the collaboration should be intensified, but there is also a question about which groups of society do you think that are currently missing in the collaboration between Indonesia and the Netherlands? And then how can we involve them? How can we intensify, this collaboration so that we can also make it more inclusive? I would address it to Rizal maybe first.
Yes, thanks. Interesting question.
Yeah.
I would like to give an example from my own research interest, which is on sustainable cities. I think most of us here live in cities, and the statistics doesn't lie. In the Netherlands, more than 75% of the population lives in cities. Netherlands is a big village, so people often mention that. And I think the rate of urbanization in Indonesia is also very, very rapid. Well, cities are faced with global challenges: climate adaptation, climate transition, energy transition. And we can only make impact if we work together. Your question is about inclusive approach. And this is also my research for smart cities, which takes on an inclusive approach. My institution is based in The Hague, and we are working very closely with the municipality of The Hague. The municipality of The Hague launched earlier this year The Hague Climate Agreements. So mutual collaboration, because we are struggling and we need new insights, we need new ideas, we are experimenting with new things, and sometimes ideas and experience and best practices and even lessons learned from abroad would help us to further on, and the other way around for Indonesia as well. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Thank you.
I see a lot of your colleagues in the panel nodding here. Anybody who wants to reflect on that as well? How can we include other partners in the collaboration?
Well, I would like to say something, because we are talking a lot about like exchanging of students, because it's also my field as a teacher, and mostly focused on academics. Well, I'm teaching at a vocational school in the Netherlands. It's called MBO in Dutch. And I would say it would also be very beneficial to organize more exchange programs with students from vocational schools, because they have this hands-on mentality, and they could also learn a lot from Indonesia and Indonesians from them. So talking about which stakeholders could be inside, well, I think that's also very interesting to mention.
I think quite a bit is happening already in the vocational education space between Indonesia and the Netherlands. So maybe during the lunch break, you can talk to colleagues from the embassy or from NUFIC Southeast Asia to explore that further, because I think it's things are moving.
Yes.
With exchange,
that's great. Yeah.
Arnold, you want to say something?
Maybe to say a few things about this. Actually, I don't do the transdisciplinary research with the living labs that you do in Indonesia, but I also lead the Center for Sustainability, one of the Leiden Delft Erasmus centers that, thanks to Wim van der Doel, is now very nicely connected to a number of Indonesian universities. We have developed the figure of what we call thesis labs. And what we do there is actually put together students from totally different fields, including schools of higher education. So people from your Applied University of Science are also very welcome to do that, together with stakeholders to really work on subject societal relevance. And that is very inspiring for students. It links real life problems and real life stakeholders to, let's say, a research setting. And that is in general very fruitful. One warning though. We are now in the Netherlands, a country that is very famous for its, let's say, collaborative approach. One drawback of the collaborative approach is that if you really want to do a transition, you always have losers. If you give the losers, powerful losers, too much podium, then you probably can stuck the transition. So you really have to think very carefully about who to involve, in what way, to really make the big changes for the better.
In the spirit of co-creation, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah? But then with who do you co-create? That is very important.
Yeah. And picking up on that, I would like to go to Ibu Zenlin. Professor Zenlin, regarding nurturing talent, we have heard some thoughts this morning about nurturing talents and insights into talent development. I was wondering how this unfolds in your project, especially in connection with Indonesian talents.
Yes. Thank you for the question. I really like the one of the sentence that the Ministry of Education said today, that knowledge multiplies when it is shared among others. So how can these talents be nurtured in the project? I think there are several things that we can work on together. Like, for example, we have our own expertise with each other, and the idea of doing an inter or transdisciplinary research really forces us also to think out of our own disciplines. So that also gives you an opportunity to look forward beyond your own discipline, your own expertise. And talking about inclusivity, for example, in the project, we also are very keen to look at rural area where people are not very aware of hygienic routines, for example. And if there is another pandemic, we would like also to see how we can educate these local communities to be better prepared. So it's kind of a education for the grassroots to be able to prepare better. So in that sense, nurturing the talents, we can also start from the very bottom. And it's kind of an ecosystem idea where you are not alone, and you need to see what the potentials of others, appreciate those potentials and build on that.
Yeah.
Great. As we've looked a lot on the past, what has happened between Indonesia and the Netherlands, and we've seen that there's a very strong foundation, and we also reflected on where we are today and some current projects that are going on. Maybe we can also look at the future of the collaboration between Indonesia and the Netherlands for the last 10 minutes or so of this panel discussion, and see it as an assignment maybe for the participants in Winner. And what should they talk about in the coming days, and also, of course, afterwards, that will really mean that we can take a next step in the collaboration between Indonesia. It can be from your own perspective or more strategic, and the question is open to anyone to answer. So what's the next step according to you, or should be the next step to really make sure that we take the collaboration to the next level? Yeah?
I'd like to touch on the impact on co-creation and creating a real breakthrough also for the future in terms of collaboration. Today we witness how collaboration in research and education is aligned with government-to-government collaboration. I think that's really important to ensure that we will continue and we will make impact in the future. Arnold mentioned about choosing the right stakeholders, being at the driver's seat, being the right steering, the right direction. One example is what we did last year during last year's Winner Conference. It was an opportunity to make a combination between the winner conference and the government-to-government mission on the climate and energy summit in Indonesia. That was organized, initiated by RVO and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, connecting to different ministries. There, we addressed the theme of sustainability, not only from the point of view of knowledge, but also from the point of view of policies. And it has been very fruitful because the connection that was initiated last year continues now with the NL Knowledge House for Indonesia. We are still discussing the idea of joint training workshop between the ministries and Ministry of Energy, ASDM in Indonesia. For example, on hands-on approach, a quick scan, practical approach for energy editing of public buildings, because the ministry in Indonesia wants to give the first example how to do it in a more practical way. And with RVO and an NL Knowledge House, we are discussing how to create this learning trajectory. So probably this is one of the things that I hope will continue in the future, and it will be our next steps. Thank you.
Sustainable collaboration, Arnold.
I think we do already a lot together. A lot of LDPD candidates come to the Netherlands to study here. We have been there now for 5 years. I would say, why don't we develop with the right stakeholders again? But we have NWO, we have the ministry, we have BRIN, and all the good stakeholders here in the network, that you say, okay, what could be a joint agenda of impactful research? I can think now about a number of things, but of course that's to be determined. I can imagine one important thing is broad welfare. That is a term that we have now in the Netherlands. But I think extremely important for Indonesia. Why? If you say, I just want to develop, and you do it in the Anglo-Saxon way, I think a lot of the good things that I see in Indonesia, the cohesion, the social cohesion, and so on, will go away. You become a very individualistic society. And we know from a lot of examples that is actually not a good way of developing. So there's a huge question. How do you do that in an Indonesian context? I, as a Dutchman, have no clue, of course. But I mean, that is something that you can try to work out together. We have the whole issue of urbanization, a big issue in Indonesia, of course, exemplified by the new capital, and that's another area. We have the whole energy neutrality question. We have the waste and the microplastics question and that kind of things. That are 4 huge agendas where I see that if you really start to think about it, very complex. We probably can work out agendas like, okay, these are best practices for inter and transdisciplinary research. Well, something like InnoCost fits there, and you really can start from a broader perspective to build actually the collaborative programs and the funding mechanisms.
Interesting indeed.
Yeah, so you call it for a joint roadmap until 2030 for research, higher education, and vocational education. Okay, there's some homework maybe at the government level and at the higher strategic levels. Prof. Agus, would you like to react on that?
In the strategic point of view, for the talent management is very important for Indonesia. Since last August, Indonesia have new presidential decree on the talent management, grand design of talent management, national talent management, and this talent management including 3 kinds of talent in culture, talent in sports, and talent in research and innovation. In terms of talent and research innovation, it's very important because the successful of research and innovation depend on how talent can build in our country. So that's why currently BRIN have several programs to nurturing talents from undergraduate, master, PhD, until postdoctoral, and we also invite researchers, including from Netherlands, of course, to come to Indonesia to collaborate with us. And the second thing is, since the number of investment of the research budget in our country is depend on state budget, almost 86% of our budget is depend on budget from government. Only 16% is coming from private sectors. Is this different with the developed countries? Almost developed countries has 60% of investment in research and development coming from private sectors. That's why we need to collaborate, also involving private sectors, industry, so that they can involve also in research innovation activities. Because if our private sectors involved in also in research innovation activities, then the product from our country can also, the quality will be increased, and the economic development is also will be increased as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm eyeing Ibu Zenlin again before I go to Judith. About this partnership with private sectors, how it unfolds in your relationship with Indonesian researchers. Do you also involve private sectors, and whether there is a certain bias that we need to be aware of or something?
Yeah, I really like what Pak Agus just shared about the need to involve the private sectors. I think if you look at the collaboration so far, the majority is still at the academia level. Yeah. So I think it is also talking about the future as well. It might be interesting to invest more in this university industry collaboration. And in our project, I think we would like to involve the government, but also the private sectors, let's say the hospitals, but also the medical workers, the patients, but also just the local communities. There are in Indonesia these health workers that go to the rural area. So I think I would certainly very much agree on the idea of having this university industry collaboration.
Yeah. Maybe last question for Judith, very briefly. You as a teacher, what are you going to say to your students about the connection between Indonesia and the Netherlands?
Well, implicit, I'm teaching my students about how to be open-minded to each other and how to have a wide perspective on things. And what I would say in a concrete way is, well, if you have the chance to work together with people from abroad, or even go abroad, or study abroad, or do a project, please do it, and well, get your knowledge and nice experience from there, because it's needed.
Thanks a lot, Judith. Yeah, unfortunately, we have to stop here because time has run out. So I would like to thank you as a panel very much. I think we have some homework to do all together from the governance side to come to with a roadmap, but also from individual students and academics to contribute to that roadmap bottom up. I think the foundation is so strong that we don't have to wait for the government to come into motion to really also do it at the individual level. And I think you gave us in the whole room, hopefully, and the audience online, great inspirations for it. So big round of applause for the panel. Thank you. Good, then we are almost at the end of our Dutch morning and Indonesian afternoon program, the first day of Winner 2024. Thanks for staying with us so far. But before we close, I would like to introduce our final speaker of today, which is Gerbert Kunst, Director International Policy of the Dutch Ministry of Education, Culture and Science. And we're very happy that Gerbert, as the host from the ministry today, will close the session, because thanks to OCW, we are also here in this beautiful theater. Gerbert.
Thank you very much, Mervyn. Selamat siang. Good afternoon also to our audience online. What an inspiring morning we've had here today. And I would like to repeat the sentiments of Minister Bruins. We are really very honored to have here in the Netherlands the 5th edition of Winner. And actually, I learned as well that we have a lot of homework and we need to also develop a roadmap. Actually, all examples presented this morning in this opening ceremony show a very close partnership between Indonesia and the Netherlands on education, research and science. And I was particularly inspired by the keynotes from the young scientists, showing the enormous added value of the collaboration between scholars from both our countries, and how this contributes to their professional development. And furthermore, I'd like to acknowledge the benefits of the collaboration on societal level, like we learned as well in the panel. Global challenges, we all know, need to be addressed together, and the Netherlands and Indonesia are collaborating already on a variety of these challenges, which is really excellent and very much needed. So I am very much impressed by the knowledge, ideas and experience that were exchanged today on this stage. And I think we need to keep sharing our knowledge today, tomorrow, and in the future. And actually, I'd like to challenge you a bit. If we would close our eyes and fast forward into the next decade, what will the world look like? What skills do we need to invest in today in order to adapt the world of the future in all its complexity and challenges? I think we all agree education plays an important role in societies of the future. We need to equip future generations with inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong opportunities for everyone, and particularly for the most vulnerable and marginalized groups. We need to fight for equal opportunities in education and in science and close the gender gap. And let's not focus too much now on concepts like lower or higher education, but look at the talents we all have. How can we make sure each student, each researcher, all of us is empowered to realize our own full potential? Because all students, regardless of the type of education, from craftsmen to academics, deserve to be challenged, motivated, and feel inspired. So during the Knowledge Mission in 2022, and again today, I've seen really the strength and energy in our bilateral relationship. And I feel, and we've said it today a few times, that together we are certainly stronger. And therefore I feel Winner is an outstanding example. This event is really a very strong partnership of our multiple organizations. And here I would like to thank and to use the opportunity for thanking all partners that have made Winner 2025 possible. I think it's 2024 actually, but I think we all would love to make 2025 even a greater success, of course. In particular, I think I'd like to thank our colleagues from the Ministry of Education in Indonesia, the Ministry of Culture, Research and Technology. Thank you so much for being here and helping us out, as well as the colleagues of BRIN, ALMI, NUTHIC Southeast Asia, NWO, KNAW, and the embassies in both our countries. I especially want to thank all the colleagues that were part of the organizing committee, because behind the scenes, there's a lot of work to do to make this kind of events happen. And of course, I'd like to thank all the knowledge institutes, researchers and partners for the many examples that have enriched this program. And thank you, of course, to Mervyn and Avi, our wonderful moderators. I think a round of applause. You really ensured today's smooth time management. Well, I think you did. We were maybe a bit difficult for you to handle. And also for, I think, our next step, this is, of course, a nice and wonderful networking lunch. So let me again thank you all for being present here. Also, thank the audience online. I really do hope that you enjoyed the program. And I think just a last thing is to remind you all, and I would like to recall the 3 messages of our minister, saying that we know all scientists are needed in this collaboration. We know we need every one of us. And in the end, it is international cooperation and collaboration that is like Winner, that is so much needed for really arriving to sustainable growth and reaching our sustainable development goals. With that, I would like to wish you all a very fruitful week, and I hope to see you in the networking events this week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Herbert. Yeah.
Thank you, Gerrit, for your very, very kind words. It has been an absolute pleasure. Also, thanks, Avi, for co-hosting with me today. I will give you a very short overview before Avi closes of the day of tomorrow, because then there will be another full day of Winner with a lot of parallel sessions that focus on 6 main topics: energy and sustainability, health, agriculture and food, water, law and legal, and culture and history. And all sessions are connected to the overarching theme of Winner, nurturing mutually beneficial cooperation in higher education and research. Winner will be a hybrid event, as you all know, and the sessions will take place at various locations, as you've seen in the video, across the Netherlands and online. And the audience, you can check the Winner website for the program. And I wish you all a great event.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the program has shown that there is a lot of collaborations and a strong bond between Indonesia and the Netherlands. Let's cherish this, continue to foster this, and make this endeavor more inclusive and make everyone winners. All striving, let's strive to find solution together for global societal challenges, as together we are stronger and no more. And I should echo what Yuri said in the beginning. If we want to go fast, we go alone. If we want to go far, we have to go together. I'd like to thank everyone, the audience in this theater and also online. Please be informed that after this, if you have received the invitation, you may visit ISS The Hague to do the matchmaking with NL Knowledge House. And Mervin, this is a good time for us to do a selfie with the audience.
Oh, really? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course. Let's do this Gen Z way.
And while I prepare my phone, maybe we should also not forget to thank the people who gave technical support from Diligentia, from the Nation Southeast Asia, and also from the ministry, of course. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Let's do this.
Okay, there we
Cheers,
go.
everyone.
Arms rising. Yay.
Yay.
Great stuff. Thanks a lot.
Okay, see you on day 2 and day 3. Lunch is provided outside. Thank you very much, everyone.
Lihatlah putih melati dan tulip jingga tumbuh di taman hati negeri berbeda. Namun keduanya miliki hal sama, puspita penjelma bahagia. Taman hatiku bukanlah ladang tempur, taman hatiku kini ladang bersyukur. Jangan menatap perih masa lalu, tataplah masa nan mendatang. Sebagai hamparan ilmu saling bekerja sama antar dua negara dalam bidang pendidikan dan penelitian. Perkuat persahabatan, berbagi kesempatan, memperdalam ilmu pengetahuan, beraneka ragamnya. Lihatlah putih melati dan tulip jingga mekar berseri semarak suasana, bersama wujudkan damai di dunia, melangkah maju dan semua akan menjadi pemenang. Werking tussen de twee prachtige landen in het onderwijs en wetenschap verdiepen. Daarnaast onze vriendschap versterken en gelijke kansen